3、2、1. Hello and welcome to the Dweebz in Japanese podcast. I am one of your hosts, Patrick.
I'm also one of your hosts. Hello.
Yay. That was fast this time.
Look at that. We got it down. Episode,
Awesome.
What are we, 100?
Basically, yes. 100 and 100 minus 93. Well, how has your recent study habits and study goings on been?
Let me tell you what, it's been very slow now. It's slowed down quite a bit.
Is that because of your job and just getting busy?
It's a mix of things. Partially, I'm trying to kind of like a shift in gears. I think I mentioned this before. Still trying to do drawing some more.
Yeah.
I'm trying to work out like a schedule so I can improve a little better with that. That way, once I have that established, I can kind of go back to what I was doing. But also, I had some
That helps
issues.
a lot.
Yeah. I was also having issues with doing it on my phone, like the syncing between my phone and my desktop. I
Wanting honey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed like a lot of the times I would do lessons on my phone because I get allergy shots every week, so that's what I do while I'm waiting to leave. So I usually do that, and I've noticed that when I do my lessons on there, they don't sync with the desktop. So
yeah. So what happens there? Because I'm a developer, so I kind of
Mhm.
understand this stuff because I've actually made some WaniKani mods before too.
Gotcha.
What happens is a lot of it is client side, so the browser side. So it hasn't been actually saved on the server. And you know how the reviews are out of order?
Yeah.
So what happens is if your phone doesn't have a great connection, some requests will drop or not succeed, and then
Oh.
even though you've moved on to the next thing, those are kind of queued. At least I think so, based on what I was looking at. But the number one thing I do recognize though, and I think is totally true, is that if you haven't done the reading and the meaning, so if you do the reading and the meaning, then it's saved.
Yeah.
But if you only done one of them, then it's not saved, and you have to redo it if you're going to a new device, or you quit the app on your phone or whatever. You come back to it later. So you need to get both the reading and the meaning in order for it to actually persist. And of course, you have to have a good connection, because it will just skip. It'll queue the requests in the background, and then you just move on to the next thing. And so you think everything's saved, but it's not until it actually succeeds, but it doesn't tell you.
Dang.
Yeah, so you have to have a good connection to be careful. I don't know. You might say that's a feature because you're getting more practice.
That's true.
Redoing the same reviews over and over.
Yeah.
So you're saying that's slowing you down or something?
Yeah, it's been kind of annoying me because because the way that you're right, I do get more review on it, but the way it's kind of set up is spacing out the reviews. So if I keep doing the same handful of things every time I do it, it doesn't feel like I'm really getting anywhere.
Yeah, you can tweak a lot of stuff. I would say that your internet connections are kind of hard to tweak,
Yeah.
But I would keep that in mind though when you're doing the reviews, because I definitely noticed that as well. That in order for it to save, you need to get both the reading and the meaning. So if you're trying to say oh, I know this kanji, I really want to. I do this all the time too. I'll say, oh, I'm done with my bathroom break. I'm done with my my food break, and I'm going through my reviews. Before I start my next thing, I'll try to get at least, if I did the reading for something for a review, I'll make sure to get the meaning before I quit the app, before I move on to whatever else I want to do. If I have the time. Otherwise, I'm I'll just redo it.
What about for the lessons? Do you know does that work in a similar way? Because I've done chunks of lessons and then on my phone and then come back to my desktop to continue, and then those same lessons would still be there.
Oh yeah, you can't redo. It's only like one. Like so, after you do all the lessons, it's like you did the lesson. So, or sorry, after you do all of the like items in the queue,
Mm-hmm.
then you've done the lesson.
Oh,
Then it will save
so you
because
have to do
again, it's like
all of
all
them?
yeah you have to do all. So I don't know how many you have in your queue, but it's defaulted to 5, and I
Oh,
do
oh,
all 5.
oh, that's what you mean. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
if you
that's
do
what
all
I've been
5,
doing.
then it saves, and then you can go back
Yeah.
to your desktop. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been having issues with that part too. So it's also been kind
So
of
you might
annoying.
have to just honestly refresh, like
Mhm.
if the webhooks or whatever they're using aren't working correctly, which it should. But again, if it's not working correctly, if your internet's slow or something,
Mhm.
you can go and just refresh. Because yeah, again, it's like downloading all the review queue, and hopefully it should be updating, but sometimes it doesn't. Um, and so all the downloaded reviews, like if you have, basically if you open this web page at the same time on your phone and your computer, and then you do the reviews on your phone, if your desktop computer is like not updating for whatever reason, internet connection's bad or whatever, you're gonna have to do the same reviews again. So you have to refresh the page or um, yeah, check your internet connection. But I think it should be updating on the fly.
Yeah. Okay.
That's an interesting call out though.
Mhm.
Actually, I remember I had to put in like a little timer when I was doing
Oh.
like the tab notifications. So I think it was like I don't know, every 5 minutes or something like that. It would go check to see if there was no reviews, and it would like add a little notification to the tab. This
Oh,
was just a
cool.
little thing I made years and years ago.
Mhm.
Um, but so they might not be doing like the live update thing. I don't know. I have no idea. Um, yeah, so I've been sort of similar. Like I've been really busy recently. I've been doing other things like skating a lot and making like skate videos and stuff, which has been really fun.
Oh, cool.
There's a couple pros here on the island, but one of them, he's like super famous on like YouTube and Instagram and stuff. And
Mhm.
I've been seeing him at parks, and we've been skating together. So we were skating yesterday too.
Wow. That's really
Um,
cool.
Yeah, he's a really cool guy. He and his friends, like his friends, are super silly and fun. He's really silly and fun too. It's like not he does like really 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 out there stuff that like nobody else does as far as like just silly, um, silly like fun stuff. So it's been really really fun to get away from like the cool guy type of skateboarding where everyone's trying to do the exact same thing
Yeah.
and they all look the same. It's been really fun to because I'm not that way at all. I like to do kind of my own thing and just do like poop tricks is what I
Yeah,
call
for
them.
sure.
So he does a lot of poop tricks, which is really fun. So like for example, we were in he was when I got to the spot because it was right across from the skate park. We were skating to
Mhm.
school, and when I got there, his wife was filming him, and he was up in a tree holding his skateboard. And I walked toward him. I was like, "What the heck are you doing?" He's like, "Yeah, it's just for a video." I'm like, "Oh, okay." But so then like we recorded a clip of me like skating underneath the tree through the grass, and then he like jumped over me.
What?
It was silly stuff like
That's
that.
cool. You'll have to show that. Sounds cool.
This is the Japanese podcast, so I don't want to get so much into that, but I
Yeah,
think he's
yeah.
gonna make a video because he makes these like skate videos, and hopefully that will show up so I can show you. It's really silly. But it
Cool.
was fun. But anyways, like I'm busy with skateboarding and like also the contract and everything. So my kind of fallback Japanese study is always again like talking to my wife, but then
Mhm.
also just wanting kani. Wanting kani is one of those things I love. That's really consistent. Like SRS
It
kind of
is.
makes it consistent and sort of like you can't get away from it. And I have
Yeah.
an iPhone and I have it in my dock too, so I know how many reviews I have, and I always feel like the pressure to go and finish them, which I
Yeah.
like.
You see it going up.
Yeah, yeah. Because I don't have it in my notifications. I have it like literally on my desktop, so I see that badge, that 57 reviews badge on the top corner of the app. So I see it every single time I open my phone. I'm like,
Oh.
oh, I have to get this done. I have to get this done. It's like this pressure in my head, which I
Oh,
like.
that's good.
I know a lot of people are the same way too, but literally, if it's out of sight, it's out of mind for me.
It
So it
is,
has
yeah.
to be, and if it's a notification, it's just noise. So if it's sometimes it's helpful, but again, like we're busy, we're always doing something. So if I'm constantly seeing it throughout the day, like open phone, oh, I see that 57 reviews, open phone, I have 87 reviews. Oh crap, it's getting more. Like I have to spend 10 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever to finish it.
Yeah.
That's helpful for me. And to like with anything, right? Like if I'm gonna go buy something, I'll write a note to myself, or make it so that when I'm leaving the house, I will try to remember that I need to buy something at the store or whatever before I get back home. Like I'll do something physical in my space to remember that. Maybe I'll write a note and then put it on the door before I leave, or maybe I'll you
Hmm.
know like put an empty thing of like, so say soap or whatever. I'll put like an empty thing of soap right there and be like, oh yeah, I need to
Hmm.
buy soap, that type of thing. Because it's
Yeah.
a constant like visual reminder, like, oh, I need to buy that. Because it's so easy to forget for me. Like especially if it's just a notification, it's just noise. If it's on my calendar or whatever, it's just kind of noise. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been like reading a little bit of my
Double-edged.
manga, yeah,
Sweet.
and Monikane basically. Um,
Mhm.
so so this week I hopefully want to do more. Oh, one thing I want to say is that I've been listening to. I'm also like trying to get involved in real estate. I'm like
Oh,
super into
okay.
that. So but I listened to this podcast, and there's one episode about like mindset, which is a little bit different. I mean, it's a real estate podcast, but they have other people come on too. And one of the guys, he um, was talking about um, like how to read faster. And one thing that
Okay.
I don't know if you knew this because I didn't, but it really helps to have a visual aid when you're reading, because a lot of people backskip. I backskip all the time when I'm reading books, and this is one thing for Japanese too. Like my manga, for example, I kind of want to read it quicker, and I want to because I have so many books I want to read, and so I kind of want to
Yeah.
read books quicker in the amount of time I have, which is very little. Um, and he was saying that it really helps, and there's been a lot of studies on this. Apparently, that if you a lot of people do this already when they're kids, but like to take your finger and like just hover over the word that you're reading, apparently that
Oh,
improves reading speed and comprehension by like some crazy percentage, like something like 50% or whatever, is what he was saying. So
that's really insane.
which is cool, yeah. And then
Wow.
he did a bit of like on the fly math. Say, you read I don't know, an hour, something words per minute or whatever, then you read like an hour a day, which is kind of a lot for, I don't think most people read an hour a day. I said probably like if you read every day, it's probably 15 to 30 minutes or something like that. But we read, stuff
Hmm.
all the time, like on the internet, on documents, and mostly digital screens. But even like for
Yeah.
that, if you're using your mouse, or if you're using your mouse cursor, or using your thumb, like when you're reading an article or something like that,
Oh, to like
apparently it really
go along
helps.
with it.
Yeah.
Hmm. And that
Um,
helps in speed mostly.
Speed and comprehension, so that you're not back skipping, because that's what my problem is all the time is, when I'm it's and another thing you're saying too is that when you're reading, and this goes for language learning too, like if you're reading in a different language, um, a lot of the times, and this might be beneficial for if you're learning in a different language for sure, but for especially your own native language, it might not make any sense, is you have like an internal voice, right? So when you're reading
Hmm.
something, a lot of people, by the way they're taught when they're younger, they will read the thing and then kind of say it in their head. So if I'm reading, I wrote in my notes, been so busy recently that I've been doing wanikani. I would say that in my head, and so I can only read as fast as I can say that. But in reality, our brains can read it faster and comprehend it faster than we can speak it.
Hmm.
So in order to help with that, using your thumb to kind of like guide you as sort of like parsing text versus saying text helps you understand it more apparently. So I'm going
Interesting.
to try that again. Like I'm just taking his word for it, but
Yeah.
I want to try it for my Japanese reading and just my book reading in general. And I want to kind of report back on it. Because
Yeah,
I've
that
done
would be
it
cool
before
if
in
you
the
could do that.
past. I've been interested in those little quick things, but like when it comes to
Yeah.
books, I'm actually at the point now where I have like a big reading list that I really want to knock down. So
Wow, okay. Yeah. Hopefully it'll help you with that.
Have you been reading your manga or your books at all? Did you try to read it?
Yeah, I tried reading FMA a little bit. That was a little hard, but then I went to Nazo Nazo. I read a couple pages of that. And that was easier
Sweet.
to read. Yeah.
Yeah, the visuals help a lot. It's not a bunch of fancy like fantasy words. It's just a bunch of like
Mhm.
sort of childish words.
Yeah.
It's weird because kids in Japan, they don't understand complex like adult topics or more of like cerebral topics, right? They understand like
Yeah.
simple things, and so for foreign learners, most of the time they're like an adult or in high school or in middle school or something like that when they're learning Japanese or another language, right? And so
Mm.
they kind of understand the more like complex topics, and so they don't really need someone to explain to them what that is. The hard thing for them is just learning how to like understand the kanji, and then because there's so much there, right? So for
Yeah.
example, Japanese kids, they don't understand the complex topics, and so they'll just learn the hard kanji even if it's a simple concept. If
I
that makes
see.
sense. So like it's
Hmm.
the opposite. It's the opposite when you're a foreign learner because learning all the strokes and stuff is harder than understanding the concept.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Like for example, gravity. Like telling that to
Gravity.
a elementary school student or something like that, or even younger, right? The kanji is sort of complex to a native, or I mean, a foreign speaker,
Hmm.
for gravity, but the sorry, it's a little simple, I would say, but the concept is like totally something that anybody will understand, right?
Hmm.
So like, I'm trying to get this explanation correct. So the kanji is simple, but the concept is hard for a little
Yeah.
Japanese kid
Yeah.
trying
And
to
then it's
understand
the
what gravity
opposite, right?
is. They're
Yeah.
like, they're not going to even try that. That's going to be like a advanced thing. That's going to be, I don't know, late elementary school or middle school, right?
Yeah.
But so they're learning the simple concepts even if they're hard kanji. It's weird. So like
Huh.
for
Okay.
yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. I lost my train of thought. So let's do the wall of
Well,
shame segment.
of
Oh, sorry, favorite
speaking of
words. Favorite
kanji,
words. Yeah. Favorite words. Well, actually, you can go to the wall of shame words if you want to.
well, I
That's really
mean,
fun.
we'll just go with the favorite word. So
Sure.
even though I haven't been doing as much studying, I have been looking up. Uh, I've been trying to look up kanji, and that's really hard. But every time
Mm.
I see something I don't know, I will just try to look it up just to see what it is. So I've that happened with this word, which is I think it's amaoto. Is that right?
Amalto? I have no
Oto.
idea.
Oh.
Amalto.
Well, it's made up of two kanji for rain and for sound, and then it's just sound of rainfall.
Yeah, I wouldn't know the reading for that unless it's ame oto or like
Right?
maybe uon. I think that's the
Hmm.
konyomi for ame. I don't remember though. It might
I
be
don't remember
on.
that.
Just to read, I can
On.
read it though. I understand what it means, but
Hmm.
I wouldn't know how to say that. Like I would just say ame no oto because I'm lazy. And I do say that all the time. Like Judy and I say that all the time. But I wonder
Hmm.
if there's a way to say that sort of like book language, like ooh.
Um,
But most
hmm.
people when they're speaking, it's more simple than that. They don't really say like
Yeah.
um, like for example, if you're doing directions, you'll say like migi ite. Oh, but I mean, so navigation, your navigation app or whatever, it'll say like usetsu, which means right, and sasetsu, which means left, like a
Hmm.
left turn. It specifically means
Oh,
left turn.
okay. So it's used in
So
navigation, right?
it's using like navigation. So which makes sense, like if you're driving, but you could say that to be way more clear, but you'd probably just say like right or left, right? You wouldn't say make a
Yeah.
left turn to your friend,
Yeah, yeah.
make a right turn. You'd say okay, here left,
Yeah.
up at this
A lot
rock,
more
right?
simplified.
It's a lot more simplified. So it's just like migi hidari versus usetsu, sasetsu. So
Okay. Yeah,
so
I've
like
heard those.
same thing with the ame oto or whatever. Ama oto, just ame no oto is fine. That's cool. I've never actually. I wonder what the reading is for that. If it's just ame oto or ama oto or something like that. Never actually
Yeah,
seen that before.
according to the G show, because that's how I found it.
Ama oto, interesting.
I looked up the what is it? You can search by radicals, so you just like
Mm-hmm.
have to, and it's cool because you get practice identifying all the radicals because
Yeah.
you can really see a
Yeah.
kanji differently depending on how you try to look at it. You know, does that make sense? Because it looks
Yeah, for
different if
sure.
you look at the whole thing versus the parts it's made out of. Yeah,
I want to tell everybody, you and everybody listening, my
yeah,
favorite kanji, which is
yeah.
ever. So this is not what I'm gonna
Ever.
say
Dang.
recently.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
we have a favorite Japanese word recently segment that we're doing right now, right? But
Yeah.
I'll tell you my favorite kanji, dekoboko. And
It's
if I
okay.
can, if somebody, yeah. So if we're watching this, let me actually try to get a bigger. Ah, it's not gonna show up. Anyways, can you see that? It looks pretty terrible. You just see a reflection. And
Okay.
this camera's not focusing.
It does not want to. Yeah. You got
Can you kind
okay.
of see that
I
now?
think I can see it. It's
So it's like a mountain or a middle finger, and then it fits together like a puzzle. They're very boxy
they
looking
are very
kanji,
boxy.
and yeah, that means the roughness or unevenness. So dekoboko is the whole thing. Sorry, not boko.
Huh.
I never use that in a conversation ever. So I just saw it, one time, and then it stuck in my head. So like the visual is stuck in my head.
Yeah.
Um, so the rikutsu o tsukeru is my favorite word recently. Moving on to our wall of shame. Hello.
Mine is exactly the same. It's
Ooh.
what do we got? Got coffee, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sha. We got uh Tanin.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's like
Another person.
another person. Okay. Another person. I keep thinking it's like I don't know. I think for some reason the
Alligator person.
alligator person. No, I'm
I mean, it
thinking
has
more
leader than like alligator or
outsider.
whatever.
I keep thinking more like outsider, like closer to foreigner, which I know is
Oh.
not correct, just because of the kanji. Alligator person sounds like an outsider, but it's not.
So
It's just your
if you
everyday
try
other
to, I think
person.
I had the same issue. Honestly, I think one of the ways I solved that was saying an outsider is mean.
It is
So
mean. So you call them an alligator person.
yeah. So an other person, just say other
Other
person,
person.
but it means another person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, so I have the same kanji, one of them, but one of them is new.
Oh,
It's
what
a
is
it's a recent word I learned. The meaning is more hard for me than the reading. Really, like I know it's read itsua, but the meaning is anecdote.
oh,
And yeah, it's a good one. It's a meaty one. The first
it
kanji
is.
means elude, and the second one means like story or talk.
Oh,
So you're eluding the talk, but it's an anecdote. I don't even remember the mnemonic to be
what?
honest. Like it's kind of hard. Actually, I would say that it means elude. The first kanji means elude. Itsu is the onyomi. It means elude, but it also means deviate. So like I think
Hmm.
the mnemonic was saying something about like deviating from the conversation turns into an anecdote or something like that. Like those kind of
Oh,
half baked
yeah. Well, like it
mnemonic.
kind of makes sense, but it's like
It's very
there's
hard to remember. It's
probably
not visual or
yeah.
anything. So
Uh-huh.
I'm not blaming the mnemonics fault because if I really want to remember it better, I should write it. But it is a new word. Like I go through these so fast now that I just kind of unless it's a really really bad mnemonic, I just kind of leave it.
Gotcha.
So it's not that big of a deal. So
Mm-hmm.
that's it. Itsuwa, and you're still at Sha and Tanin, right?
Yes. But next
Cool.
week it will be different, I tell you.
Awesome. I'm holding you to that. So moving
Yeah.
on, we have the grammar lesson. This is not so much grammar, I guess, is it just like a word.
Oh,
Again, from
word.
the Tofugu Japanese section of their website. Thank you so much. But this is something that I could talk to as well because I hear this all the time. Like, I'll. So one thing that my family, my in-laws, they make fun of me for is I wear white t-shirts all the time, including now. And because we eat pasta for whatever reason a lot, or anything with tomato sauce, immediately will get on my shirt. So like it's kind of become a running thing now, so much so that I never want to wear a white shirt if there's any tomato in sight. Uh, so, but seriously, like I will be eating my food and then afterwards it'll be somewhere. Like I might have not even noticed it when I'm eating. There's like nothing on the front, but it will be on my back or at the bottom underneath my butt. Like I sat on a tomato or something like that. It's just been,
Yeah.
so, often they'll say like, oh, sasuga pato. So sasuga is the word that we're discussing. So sasuga means, it's kind of hard to meaning. It means like, as you expect, I guess is how they describe it in the article. But it means that is just like you. It's just like you to do that. It's
Oh
just like
yeah,
you.
okay.
It's just like you. It's just like them to do this. It's just like them to have this happen to them. But it's that's what I love about Japanese because there's a lot of that. You don't have to say so many words. It's just all in one word.
Hmm.
Sasuga. It just means it is just like you to do that. It's just like you to have that happen to you. It's just like that. So
Yeah.
when they see me getting tomato sauce on me, like sasuga tato, like
Not even.
as you'd expect from you, which is sort of like a tease, but it's
Hmm.
not necessarily a good thing. But they think it's funny and they think it's endearing or whatever.
Yeah.
But it can also mean something like bad, like say somebody like your boss or whatever is uh, berating a coworker or something like that. Like sasuga joshi-san, like just like the boss to do this type of thing, as you'd
Yeah.
expect,
Okay.
is what it means.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but that's in a more negative
it's a
connotation
more
now. It's
negative
like,
thing, but of course it can be a compliment though. So like if you're saying, um, like if you're saying it to somebody after they made something really yummy and they gave you it,
hmm.
and you're like, saすが借りるこのバナナブレードが美味しいとか like if you just say something like that,
Hmm.
then it's a compliment, of course. It means like, as you'd expect, Kolo's so good at culinary, he made me this amazing banana bread. Um,
Hmm.
but but of course, just like in English, you can
But you
use
could
it
use it
also.
the other way too. If
You can
someone
use it
does
the other way
something,
too.
yeah, something bad, you can say, "Oh, just like you to mess up or something."
Yeah. Also, sasaga is kind of weird because it means, I mean, it can be sort of this at the end of the article. They also say getting the hang of it. I've also heard this too. So, like for example, somebody is just learning, and you're trying to make a compliment, but they haven't, like, say for example, I don't know, with the skateboard thing. Like if they're trying a trick and and you're trying to like help them, like you're trying to be encouraging.
Hmm.
You're like, oh, you're getting it. Let's say you're playing tennis or something like that, and they're just like really trying really hard to return, you know, serves or whatever, and like you're like sasuga kariru, like ganbatte ne. It's like another way to say a compliment, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they did something amazing yet. It's like they're kind of on the way to do it. Um,
Oh,
yeah, most
interesting.
of the time it's like a compliment or like an endearing thing. Sometimes it can be, that negative thing. So sasuga is something you hear all the time,
Wow, okay.
especially in conversation.
Yeah, I don't think I've learned like the explicit meaning or how to use it really, but yeah, makes sense.
Yeah,
I feel like
you hear
that
it
kind of a
all the
concept
time.
tracks pretty well with like English, like the way we say certain
Yeah,
things, you know?
it's the way you say it and like
Hmm.
to who you're
In the
saying to, the
context, yeah.
context for sure. Yeah.
I also I see there's you can say it from a first person perspective, and it's interesting.
Yeah, I didn't read that part. What is that saying?
So it's like it seems to be like you would say it and like, oh, even I can do that kind of a thing.
Oh, that's weird. I've never heard that before.
It is weird. And there's this.
Oh, you know what? Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Oh, okay. I see what they're saying. So it's yeah. So さすがの私でさえ Google 探索はできます。Yeah, it's like it's usually saying in a sort of derogatory term to yourself. Yeah. Even they say that in the article I'm reading ahead too. It says self-deprecating. I've heard this before for sure. Like you say this, even me, like as you'd expect with me not being good at this or not being smart or whatever.
Yeah.
さすが私、さすが俺、さすが僕。I'm not good at this thing. さすが下手くそ like下手くそ is like I'm not good at something or like poor. さすが下手くそなのに even though I'm bad at this thing, I can do this. I can do that. It's not said as like a compliment to yourself. It's actually the opposite. So, but it's complimenting something else, like self-deprecating yourself to compliment something else.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like that happened yesterday all the time, but it was English. Like the guys I was skating with are super humble, so they would do something really crazy. I would do a trick or whatever, and they would do something in retaliation because we were playing a game, and it would be like so good looking and like clean and everything with a lot of skill. And they'll say like, "Oh, that was terrible." I'm like, "What?" That type of thing. Like, "Oh, that was terrible," and they're trying to compliment me because I struggled to even try to do that. And they do it perfectly, and they're like, "Oh," but they're genuinely that way. They're not just BSing or anything. The same type of thing.
Yeah. Not just or anything.
Cool. Let's do story time. I would love to have you read some of these too. I don't know if you're up to reading this because you're going to do the conversation practice, whatever works for you.
It don't matter.
It don't matter.
I have the topic planned out, so
the conversation. Why don't I just have you do that then? Let's get through this. We're sort of running a little long.
Okay, so, you're faster at reading than me, so.
Yeah, but I talk a lot more, so I'll try to not talk as much. So the story, the English title, actually, let me read just it all in Japanese. So, 車の女. It's very, and the picture is nice. I love this site, easyjapanesestories.com. 女の人が青い車にいた. I would say probably 車の中にいた. But I don't want to correct every single sentence, so I'll just say it and then maybe correct later. But 車は女の人の家だった。素晴らしい家じゃなかった。女の人の車は青かった。服は白かった。でも車も服も綺麗じゃなかったから、どっちも黒くなった。でも女の人は気づかなかった。女の人は寒かった。頭が痛かった。お腹がついた。お腹がついた。女の人は食べ物が欲しかったが、お金がなかった。家が欲しかった。お金がなかった。暖かいブランケットが欲しかったが、お金がなかった。誰もこのかわいそうな女の人に気づかなかった。女の人はクリスマスまでに死ぬと思った。クリスマスまでに死ぬと思った。
Okay. So that was just a sad story?
Yeah, I guess it was just a sad story. The last part was a little sad. A lot of the nuance, like I know the beginning part, he's just like describing the scene, right? The author. The last part is sort of like, I don't know what he's trying to get at the head.
Yeah,
but
I got lost here and there.
okay, let me try to read from the middle, maybe that was a little confusing. So 車も服も綺麗じゃなかったからどっちも黒くなった。でも女の人は気づかなかった。女の人は寒かった。頭が痛かった。So some of these sentences too, they can be like compound sentences or whatever it's called, like where you say, もう頭が痛くてお腹が空いた. Like so my you can use a te form, right? And then say like her head hurt and she was hungry. So I would say something like 女の人は寒くて頭が痛くてお腹が空いた. So I would say like a little bit more in one sentence versus just like stopping every sentence with that's what was kind of like when I was reading it. It's hard to I know the more natural way to say that, and so when I'm reading it, it's kind of
yeah, you're fighting that.
You're fighting, yeah, definitely fighting when I'm reading. Kind of ad-libbing. 暖かいブランケットが欲しかったが、お金、I would say お金はなかった。Wait. Yeah, because he used God twice, which is kind of weird. Oh no, but God is like the but. I don't know if you familiar with that. So 暖かいブランケットが欲しかったが、お金はなかった is what I would say. But お金がなかった is what he wrote.
Like he wants a warm blanket, but didn't have
any money.
Like that. That's kind of
yeah.
Okay.
So 誰もこのかわいそうな女の人に気づかなかった。So
where is that?
かわいそう、it's the second to last sentence. So 誰もこのかわいそうな女の人に気づかなかった。I would say instead of ni, but 誰もこのかわいそうな女の人を気づかなかった。Yeah. I think that's the right way to say that. So like, she's a pitiful little girl, or sorry, pitiful woman, and no one's paying attention to her. And then,
what the heck?
And then the woman said, so up until Christmas, I'm gonna die. That's what she thought. That's what she said. So I'm not really sure what that was about. The last sentence. I don't know. I have no idea what Christmas had to do with anything.
I don't either.
But it was a 不思議な話.
Yeah, it's very strange and short, but
very, very strange and short.
But to our viewers, this is not the end of the story, for there is a part 2 and maybe 3 if I remember right.
There is a second and third one.
So there's a couple sequels, so we'll see what our
There's a lot more to go for sure.
Yeah.
Also, I do want to find more stories that are a little bit more grammatically correct because
yeah, we could try that other site next time.
Yeah, the other one I actually have open. We'll do that, but I think we should definitely finish the series.
Oh yeah, we have to know how it ends.
Dying before Christmas is like I want to know more. What's
up
with that? maybe we will switch, but cool. It's your time. Your time to shine.
Okay. 行くぞ。行くぞ。Yakuza. Okay. Pato-san. 一番の食べ物は何ですか？
一番の食べ物。
一番好きな
一番好きな食べ物は
何ですか？
和食かな。
和食は何ですか？
和食。日本食。
日本食？
そう。日本食は日本の食べ物。
どっちいや、いえ、
どれ？
どれ
魚かな。魚。だから、魚と麺が美味しい。そば、冷やし中華。冷たいラーメンみたいな飯。飯じゃない、ご
飯
飯。
お、
飯の意味は、米。でも飯って言ったら、ご飯の意味もある。だから、あフードだけ。なんか、スラング。
お、
飯って言ったらスラング。
面白い。
そうそうそう。
飯が
でも、魚と麺、そば、ラーメンもちろん。うわ
うわ
ラーメンもちろん。ああとなんだもちろん魚好きだから、寿司。
うん。
あ
私も。
と、味噌汁味噌スープ
お、
が好き。あと、ほとんど毎日日本食食べてるから、日本食すごい好きだよね。赤飯日本、もち米もちの米もち米で作ってる、日本の食べ物。赤飯っていう。美味しい。すごい美味しい。それも大好き。カリュウさんは好きな食べ物は何ですか？
うーん、エビ。
聞こえな
エビ、
かった。もう一
エビ。
回言って。もう一度言って。ミュートですか？
お、もしもし
聞こえません。
あ
もう一回言って。もう一回。もう一度。もう一度。
もしもしあ
なんか変になっちゃった。ちょっと待って。ちょっと待って。ちょっと待って。
あ
ちょっと待って。そのタイマーがね、タイマーのせいで。OK。もう一回言って。もう一度。聞こえ
もしもし
ます。はい、大丈夫。
聞こえます
大丈夫、大丈夫。
あよ
ごめんごめん。
かった。
もう一回言って。
エビ、
エビ
エビと、カニ。
エビとカニ。
海の食べ物が
海鮮。
好き。
そうだよね。シーフード。シーフード
はい。
が好きなんだ。そっか。
はい。
シーフード美味しいよね。でもエビね、強い味があるよね。エビ。強い味。味は
強い味。
テイスト。テイスト。
はいはい。
強い味
あ
がある。
うん、
大きいエビか小さいエビどっちが好き？
えー、大きい。
大きい
大きいエビ。
ジャンボ
ジャンボ、はい。
ジャンボシュリンプが好きなんだ。
でも、
天ぷらのエビも好き。
天ぷら、天ぷらが好き。
こっちね、オアフに、普通のハワイの人、普通のハワイの人たちが、道の横に売ってる。シュリンプタコスっていう。で、なんか、スタンドで売ってる。
お
そう、普通に車止めて、車から出て、キャッシュで買って、それでそういうなんかビジネスやってる、週末とか。
お
だから、シュリンプタコスとか、ラウラウとか、そういうものが、普通になんか高速道路、ハイウェイの横に売ってる。ハイウェイ、
お
なんか、田舎の方でやってる。すごい混んでるホノルルのハイウェイでやってないけど。なんか、シティ、東海の方にやってない。でも、田舎の方でやってる。
や、やってん、やってない
すごいたくさん、そう、でも
はい。
すごいたくさん木がある場所でやってる。
お
ローカル的な場所でやってる。そう。
やってる意味は何ですか？
do, to do.
do? to do. お
だから、打ってない。道の横に、さっき教えたやつさっき、ちょっともっと紛らわしくなってるよね。じゃあ、カリルさんは、
はい。
エビ捕まったことある？なんか釣ったことある？船乗って、エビか魚釣ったことある？釣った。
いえ、魚、
魚はありますか？
はい。
魚ありますか？
でも、エビ
どうや、エビはね、なんか網じゃない？ネット。網。
はい。
でやるんじゃない？で、
えー
カニは箱、なんか鉄みたいな箱で、
はい。
金属、そう。
はい。長いカニは何ですか？
長い。
長いカニ、
アラスキン、スパイダークラブとかいう？
いえ、
それじゃない。
違う動物
違う動物？
違う動物。長いカニ、長いエビ、
長いエビ。
長いエビ、
え
クロ
ロブスター？
ー。
普通にロブスターっていう。
はい。
ロブスター。
ロブスター、日本
そう。
の言葉、
日本の言葉ありますけど、忘れた。ロブスターでも全然言うから。ロブスターって何なんだろう。エビでも言うんだ。でも本当に大エビ。大エビ。大きいエビ。それか、ロブスター、普通にロブスタ
そうか。
ー。そう。
面白い。
そう。
大きいエビ、大エビ、
大エビでも、
高い。
ロブスターでも全然言う。ロブスターでも言っても大丈夫。ロブスター。そう。
ロブスターと大エビ大丈夫？
大エビ
同
は
じ
同じ。
お
大エビ聞いたことない。
うん。
でも、ロブスター結構言う。みんな。そう。普通にメニューで頼んでると、注文してると、オーダーしてると見る。オーダーしてる時にメニューに見る。ロブスターって、ロブスターが書いてある。カタカナで。そう。面白いよね。
はい、面白
そう
い。
いう英語が。多分前にそこまで食べてなかったかもしれないね。
か
日
も。
本人。かもしれないの意味は maybe。
maybe。
そう。maybe。かもでも言う。かも知らない。かもしれないは長い言い方。でも、短くしても全然大丈夫。短くしても全然大丈夫。だから、かもだけ言っても大丈夫。だから、ロブスターって言うかもしれない。ロブスター言うかも。同じ。大丈夫。そう。たくさんジャパニーズレッスンがあります。
はい。
じゃあ、ご飯の話が終わりにしますか？
ご飯の
会話練習。
会話。
会話は、 話、こういう二人の話、コンバーセーション、
はい。
会話。
会話。
この会話、
あ、はい。こ
終わりにし
の会、
ようか、終わりにしますか？
あー、はい。
はい、終わりです。Yeah, think about that for a second.
Yeah,
Did you want
I
to
was
think
trying
about
to
like
think
something
of
else to
something
say?
else. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
but it takes a
Okay,
lot trying to think of what to say, and I know I'm saying a lot wrong, but I'm trying to get like the gist out
No,
there.
you're not
It was
saying a
okay
lot wrong
this
at
way.
all. I think you're like filtering yourself more than you're saying anything wrong. You might be saying something uh in your head, but you're not saying it, you know?
Yeah.
Um I used to do that a lot. Now I'm better at just like blurting out
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And I think it's because I have that safe zone. Like I know that my
Mhm.
in-laws, for example, or Judy is gonna help me. They're not gonna like they're gonna try to understand what I'm saying. If they really don't understand, they're gonna help me.
Yeah.
Um
That's nice.
yeah. So it helps to have, that kind of person like with this conversation practice too. Like I'm gonna try to understand what you're saying, and I might like say
Yeah.
it again in a more natural way, or try to say it in a more natural way.
Mhm.
But I understand what you're saying, so I won't stop you or anything like that. I'm not gonna correct you every single time too. Just like that story too that we were reading. I don't want to correct the whole story. Um, one, because it's just
Yeah.
like annoying, and then another thing too is uh, I personally don't know obviously 100% of like the correct ways to say things. So I'm not going
Mhm.
to try to pretend I know, um, but yeah, like people having a conversation in like broken English. Like they can totally have a conversation, they understand each other, and it's totally fine. Like it happens all the time here in Hawaii because everybody's from everywhere in Asia. But
Yeah.
it's fine. Like nobody, like they have their own language, like pidgin stuff. So
Mhm.
it's not that big of a deal as long as you can understand each other. But if you want to be more like
That's
fluent,
true.
then you'll start caring about that. But in the beginning, don't care about that. Just care about getting
Yeah.
whatever's in your head out. Yeah, because that's the way you learn.
Yeah. This has been like the most conversation practice I've had.
I know it's awesome, dude. Yeah, because it's.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, where else really can you get that? Like you have to go to the supermarket, and then track down the couple of Japanese ladies there and try to
Doesn't
practice with
seem
them.
very doesn't seem like a good idea, I gotta say, to track them
Well,
down.
a lot of people are actually really blown away when people try. Some of
Yeah.
them are like so blown away they're a little bit freaked out. They're like, "Why are you speaking this?" But a lot of the people are, I would say more so, like 99% of the people are excited because it's like, imagine if you're living in Japan and all of a sudden somebody comes up to you and they're trying to speak to you and like trying to have a
And
conversation with you in English,
yeah.
and then you can just like relax a bit. You don't have to think about
Yeah.
everything you're gonna say next. You're just like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" And then they're Japanese too, right? So like you have that
Mhm.
kind of mutual connection. You're both learning languages.
Yeah. That is nice, huh?
Yeah,
Good
and that's
feeling.
one of the reasons like I make friends with people who are either international or like learning languages really, really, really quick
Mhm.
because like we have a mutual interest. So
Yeah, for sure. That's cool.
like I wouldn't feel scared or nervous at all about talking to somebody in Japanese that is Japanese.
Mhm.
Because they're most often actually all the time going to be like, um, "Oh, hey, you speak Japanese? That's so cool." And then like, "Yeah, I just want to practice a little bit." Like, okay, as long as you're treating them like humans and not like just this dictionary
Like
or
a
something,
tool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a tool. Because I've had that happen to me in Japan. Like people just want to talk to me basically only because I was
Because you can
foreign.
speak English.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which got
Oh,
a
just
little
because you're
old, but I
foreign.
kind of understand it. Yeah, because there's just so few people who
Oh
speak
yeah, you
English.
mentioned that. Isn't there a word for that?
Well, yeah, but I don't know if it's like a.
Or is that
It's
just
called
like a
gaijin hanta, like hunter, like a foreigner hunter who like seeks
oh,
out foreign. They actually, I mean, they do exist. I've encountered many of them, but they'll try to find foreign
mm,
people and like try to speak English with them and like hang out with them and be buddy buddy and stuff. There's one guy who was like super sklay, like really 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 persistent and um, annoying. I had to block him online because he kept messaging me. He's like, "Come visit me." I'm like, "No, I will never visit you."
No.
It was really annoying. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, but most people are like, I mean, there's weird people everywhere. So most people are
Of
totally
course.
fine though and like
For
balance.
sure
So
is.
yeah. All right, man. Let's get going. You have a couple recommendations though, or you have one?
Yeah, I had
For
one. I just wanted to bring back up the Todai Easy Japanese app.
Is that an Android app and an iOS app, or just Android?
Ooh, I actually could not tell you. I don't know.
Hmm.
But I want to say, I'm just guessing. I would say it's both because it seems to be like um more of like a kind of like a web-based thing.
Oh,
If that
okay.
makes
Yeah, yeah,
sense.
yeah.
So if I were to guess, I would say it's on both, but I don't think I have a way to really check right at the moment.
Todai.
So I'll keep that in
Oh
mind
yeah, yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah. I'm seeing. I see this. Easy Japanese News.
You see it on your iPhone?
Yeah. Easy
Okay, cool.
Japanese News, right?
Yeah. The nice thing about it is, of course, the news articles are simple. I think I read one about like a hamburger once. I was like,
Nice.
okay. But the cool part is um it has all the furigana. The articles are pretty simple and they have
This is
different
awesome.
levels. And you know, of course, you got the translations and you have like a little dictionary of all the words it uses. So if you need to learn a new word, you can do that. It could also read it to you. Um,
Ooh.
yeah,
Yeah, that's this is really cool. I've actually been thinking about this too, not only for news, but just for like manga in general, like using some manga
yeah,
apps on my phone. But what's funny is that a lot of them are honestly just scanned uh manga. So like the one I
yeah.
was looking at that looked decent, had a bunch of reviews, was just scanned manga and it didn't really have any helpers or anything like that, which is fine because that's what I would do anyways if I was just reading a physical book. But it's
Mm-hmm.
better than
But
nothing, especially if you don't want to spend a bunch of money.
that's true. That's true.
I don't know.
It would be nice to have something like that, though, where digital manga with like helpers and stuff. That would make it a really
But
streamlined
that's
experience.
interesting because like nobody's. That's the thing is that like trying to make and that kind of comes with a complexity. Like most, interesting stories are often the complicated ones, the ones that have a lot of mystery and like
Yeah.
you don't know the next thing. Like Judy and I were watching Harry Potter, for example, and there's so many details that I just missed as a kid. You don't even pay attention
Yeah.
to because they're kind of like directed at adults too.
Hmm.
Um, and it's super fun because I don't remember all the details, and it's just like such a rich world. Um, it's a really fun series, and totally understand why. Um, uh, Freaking what's her name? J.K. Rowling is so successful. It's because the story writing's so good.
Hmm.
Yeah, but like I don't know. As far as just being like interested, that's a really, really, really important thing for study.
You sure do
Um,
have to be interested, otherwise,
yeah, for sure. So I'll try this
why are
app.
you
This
even
is
doing
this
it?
looks good.
Yeah, it's and maybe we can get some more stories from there.
Yeah, 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 yeah. For the news stories, that's a really,
Because
really good
they
idea.
really vary.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and as long as it's like semi up to date, yeah, it seems like it is. That's
yeah, I
crazy.
believe so. Yeah, yeah, these are like really recent, like today.
Yeah, that's a lot of work too to try to have somebody like translate news articles every single day and put
That's
it
a
into the
good
app. So
point.
yeah, it's cool. Probably have
Yeah,
some premium features too. Nice.
yeah, of
Good.
course.
Thanks for that suggestion.
Yeah.
All right, shall we end it? San,
Alrighty.
ni, ich. Bye bye, Ken.
Bye, bye, King.
You just copied me.
I did. I,
That's not fair. Be more
yep, I
original.
just stole your idea.
All right.